So we now move to the women's fours, and this is a top quality event. The Dutch internationals on the right of your picture from Hollandia Roeiclub up against Newcastle University. The women from Newcastle University had a fantastic season this year. Steering for the Dutch women, just going over the boys there, Kath.
Oh, that's not going to help them, is it? Essentially, we've got sort of a lot of under 23 talent in both these crews. That is not going to be what the Dutch will have wanted to get off on. That gives Newcastle a real advantage if they can kind of sneak out, take advantage of that whilst the others are correcting.
Yeah, and Veronique Meester in the stroke seat. She's the one setting the rhythm at the back of the boat. She is also steering this boat with a kind of rudder attached to her foot, and goes back by wires to the stern of the boat. She really had to hoik it on to just correct there.
Yeah, that will have been nervy for them, especially when you're doing your start. You know, the nerves are kind of high anyway, but they've got to settle now and find the rhythm. They've got a long way to go yet, so it's about getting the stronger rhythm now.
So we pick it up live. That was a recording we saw off the start. Race is only 5 minutes apart this day of racing, so we're now seeing this race, and you can see the Hollandia crew, the Dutch crew, on the left of your screen in the very distinctive red, blue and white tricolour colours on their blades. They are leading, but just from these women from Newcastle University, and this is a fantastic performance from the crew from the northeast.
Oh, it's a great race actually. I think both, you know, you can see the slightly different styles, a little bit more almost dynamic in the Newcastle crew, but not quite as refined, not quite as smooth as the Dutch. They've got two different styles here, both struggling a little bit on steering, I think, potentially as well. So it's how can the Newcastle crew now actually really hang on? They need to keep their length because it looks like the Dutch crew is starting to slip away.
Newcastle coached by Alex Lee, the ex-Yarm schoolboy, and doing a fantastic job with the women in Newcastle. They're really gutsy, they're just attacking, they're trying to get back on the Dutch crew, who really look like they've got the race won, but the aggression in the Newcastle women, led by their stroke man Francis Russell, is so impressive.
Yeah, they're really giving it a go, and you know, there's girls here who will be hoping to get to the under-23s later this year, and we know that the Dutch crew is provisionally an under-23 for that race, so there could be people here who are going to meet at Plovdiv in a few months' time, and those Newcastle girls will be wanting to show what they're capable of. We also have the experience of Nicole Lamb in there, who's previously been to the under-23s, so you know, they're just losing contact though now. They've got to try and keep the length as well as, you know, keep pushing on the rate.
So that's Newcastle University. You can see the advantage of the Dutch. They do look to be a little more fluid, a little more smooth, a little more poise, and we can have a look maybe at the Dutch women shortly, just in the two-seat, really zooming in there. Caroline Florin, she was third in the junior singles last year in Rotterdam, race won by the Italian Clara Guerra. But Caroline, well, she's got a really famous dad, famous in rowing terms. Ronald Florin won the double sculls with Nico Rinks in the Seoul Olympics. There she is. You can see her blades on this side of the boat closest to you, just one back from the one in front of the bow seat. Caroline Florin really taking the Florin rowing dynasty on, and her dad, who does a lot of work with Dutch junior rowing, will be a very proud viewer of this race.
Yeah, they've suddenly shown a lot of class, haven't they, in the second half of the race now. They've got longer strokes, much longer strokes. They're tall girls and they're using that, so they're able to kind of really lock the blades out, further out than the Newcastle crew, who in their attempts to keep attacking have actually ended up shortening up a bit.
So it looks a bit like Richard Stanhope in the umpire's launch behind. You see the launch is full of the coaches and parents generally. Get a ticket, they're very prized, the tickets. There's a great shot of the water on this Henley course, Kath.
Yeah, I mean, they're still struggling with the steering a bit, aren't they, in that Dutch crew, I think, having to kind of adjust as they go. It's pretty poppily, which means you do kind of move around a lot.
Yeah, I've never steered the Henley course myself. Generally, I think I've always rowed with people who have steered it, but I have steered down this course, and you know, with these wooden booms on either side, which protect the rowers, it really stops the craft coming onto the course. Back in the 19th century, rowers used to actually hit the racing craft, the pleasure craft that came onto the course, and so stewards took the decision back then, just before the 20th century, to put wooden booms down the course. And it's really great because it makes the course free, but it does give the steers person particularly a bit of a headache and a fright first time they race on it anyway.
Yeah, they take a bit of getting used to. It's not, you know, in international racing we just have boys, and that's bad enough to hit, but nobody wants to hit these booms.
Just see Jose de Donkschot, the head of the Dutch women's programme, in the launch there, just keeping an eye on his crew. Coach of the Dutch crew will sit on that port side, the left-hand side of the boat, or starboard side. There's José Vidon's shot with the glasses and the green sort of badge, and I would guess that is John Hickson, the coach of the Newcastle University programme, on the other side of the launch.
I mean, they're attacking all the way down, those Newcastle girls. Credit to them. They keep putting in push after push, but it's going to be difficult for them to do anything because the Dutch are on that other level. They're going to take the raid up. They're going to have another go in that Newcastle crew. I mean, they are full of fighters.
Yeah, they're inspired. It's a great programme to be in, but inspired by the British women showing what they could do in Rio last year, and by women that have gone before them, like you and Kath Granger and so forth.
And of course, the Falls event is so exciting now. It opens up the women's programme even more.
So we come through to the finish in the women's falls. Hollandia Roeiclub from the Netherlands. It was close early on, but comfortable for them in the second half of the course. They register a victory in this heat of the women's falls over Newcastle University. A very, very plucky attempt from the students from the northeast. Hollandia Roeiclub beat Newcastle.